Hello and welcome. In this presentation, I'll go over my vulnerability analysis of the Captcha Level 1 machine conducted using the Kali Linux and Nmap. Ethical hacking helps us identify vulnerabilities before attackers can exploit them. And in this lab, I scanned the Captcha 1 virtual machine using Kali Linux and Nmap to find vulnerabilities and understand the system's weaknesses. My first scan here was a broad scan of the subnet, which helped me identify all access devices on the network. This revealed several open ports on the Captcha machine, including SSH22 and HTTP port 80, which are very important in determining the system's services and possible vulnerabilities. After discovering the Captcha's IP address, I ran more detailed scans to explore specific services. The nmap sc command ran default vulnerability scripts, while the nmap script vuln command focused on detecting known vulnerabilities. I also ran a targeted scan on specific ports to analyze them more closely. Through footprinting, I was able to find the IP address, ports, etc. without actively interacting with the Captcha machine. Meanwhile, doing enumeration, I found more information on services like the Apache 1.3.20, OpenSSH 2.9 P2, and Samba 2.2.1a, all of which are outdated and have known vulnerabilities. For example, the Apache is susceptible to a buffer overflow, while Samba may allow no session attacks. The flaw hypothesis methodology is a way to predict what vulnerabilities may exist in a system. Based on the service versions and what I've learned about these versions, I hypothesize that the Apache 1.3.20 web server is vulnerable to a buffer overflow, which could allow an attacker to execute arbitrary code. Here we have the vulnerability map based on my nmap scan results. For port 111, I found the RPC 100,000, which has an information disclosure vulnerability. On port 32768, I found RPC 100,024, which is also associated with information disclosure vulnerability. In addition, OpenSSH 2.9 P2 running on port 22 is vulnerable due to weak cipher support, and Apache 1.3.20 on port 80 is susceptible to a buffer overflow. This map really helps us visualize the key points where vulnerabilities can be exploited in the system. So as I mentioned, multiple flaws were identified, but two critical ones were Apache's buffer overflow vulnerability and Samba's null session flaw. Both are caused by outdated services and poor configuration practices that leave the system vulnerable. Special thank yous to the sources that made this presentation possible. In closing, this lab highlighted the importance of ethical hacking techniques like nmap scanning, vulnerability analysis, and flaw hypothesis. By identifying vulnerabilities in outdated software and understanding how attackers can exploit these weaknesses, we can see that constant patching and system hardening are essential to maintain security.